Well, we're not done with you yet. Where do you get all this stuff, Tappy? People bring me things. They leave things lying around. Does everyone take something away as well? We're a fair society. Everyone gets something. Are you sure? You found stuff in a field or in the grass or whatever. I feel like sometimes you just take things. You stole from me. This place looks terrible. This is your place. Not going up there. Not up there, Aliya. A man must have his secrets. No peeking the sex dungeon. That's for special guests. See you later, Tappy. Don't get any less marvelous. The bags under the eyes are interesting. Are you in one piece? You still have all of your teeth. We have a few new artifacts to consider. We also have pinpointed one new location, a pre-Empire site. Are you ready to go yet, mistress? I want to go see Oroi before I leave. Very good, mistress. And also that thing in the field or whatever? If I can find it. Can't talk to this person. Oroi's yard is this way. They've done interesting things with the boundaries and transitions that make it so that they can have a pretty big looking environments, but also try to keep you in certain areas that are of points of interest without wandering off too much in empty areas. What was the city built to be?
On Elbereth, you could buy anything for any purpose.
Strong as oxen. Dependable. Cheap. Mistress? What is this lady selling? People, I'm guessing? Can't you tell? This is a slave market. You must have known, Six. Yes, mistress, but knowing something exists and witnessing it have different effects on my programming. Everyone's programming is like that. Have you been here before, mistress? I grew up here. Tappy implied it was a laborer who found something in the fields. I'm not sure what happens to laborers when they get injured. Now come on. Huh, that's upsetting. That something happened to him. We don't know what happened. They all seem intact to me. You're lost, Farwet? My name isn't Farwet. You look like a Farwet to me. And you brought a Miyake with you. A robot? Here? You don't like robots? What good are the metal things to anyone? Perhaps you're hoping to start a riot? It's useful enough to me. I suppose you think that thing of yours will stop anyone from demanding respect. I don't want any trouble. Then watch what you bring into my catkiss. Your kind won't be happy until only Miyamake can eat. Well, if you go out of business, I won't shed a tear. And neither the people you have in chains. Barwet, Seluha. This place turns my stomach. I might have ended up like this if it hadn't been for Moriari. That's quite the reveal. Just thinking about storytelling conventions and whatnot, I'm just like, it's very effective to reveal stuff by just revealing it to some extent. Like, there is a role that foreshadowing has, and you don't want to have like the sudden reveals feel like they're discontinuous with the story around them and whatever, or they're a contradiction or whatever, or break the character. But if they fit the existing puzzle, but just were missing, even if they weren't actively foreshadowed, it could be an interesting reveal. Just be like, oh, okay, here we go, new surprise, new reveal. She wasn't just from an orphanage, and she wasn't just from a poor planet before she ended up with Miyari, but she specifically, she's from a planet full of slaves. The laborers we heard about weren't just workers, they were slaves specifically. Like, that was a laborer who injured his arm, and she says she doesn't know what happens to laborers that get hurt, which is worrying, because, like, what happens to someone like that? Do they bother to nurse them back to health? Does something happen to them? Toppy said something along the lines of, you can do some stuff with a broken arm, but not plowing. Is he reassigned? Or is he decommissioned in some way, which is not a good thing for a human being? Yes. I heard one of your laborers was injured. Accidents happen. There's nothing wrong with my stock. How did it happen? Carelessness. And I'm never hiring to an Ioxian again. Your kind doesn't show respect. An Ioxian hired them, so was it Renba? An Ioxian hired workers from you? And broke one of them. Do you know who it was? He called himself Renba. Okay, nailed it. Friend of yours, is he? He's not welcome here. Renba returned a worker with a broken arm. I need to talk to that worker. Do you see any broken arms in my stock today? I imagine no one hires injured workers. So you've got him resting somewhere. You want to hire one of my stock? What's the laborer's name? Whatever you like. How much to ask him some questions? Listen, Selehua. Your Ioxian friend shattered my man's arm bone into 100 little bits. The bits are swimming around inside his skin like hungry maggots. He's never going to work again. Like as leather, you're the last chance he's got to earn himself a meal. So pay your dues. Name a price. Let's see what you've brought. I prefer jewelry and weapons. What do we have? I traded the sword. Unfortunately. Kind of want to offer something valuable, even though it might get me in trouble, just because it is a chance to repay Renba's debt a bit. Not that Renba's debt matters because he's dead, but I mean, like, this person seems to have permanently lost the function of their arm, and they're going to be struggling to survive in this way. At least they're alive, I guess. Oh, I have a dagger. Okay, yeah. The dagger. I think about when the dagger's from. I mean, I don't want to go off the brooch. Would you take this? That's very good. But I'll need more to cover it. The blunted, serrated sword. This as well. I've seen better. You have a deal. I handed over the dagger and the blunted sword with the serrated edged blade. Though this lot barely covers what a man's worth. Yazi, get out here. I mean, I just want to talk to him. I'm not exactly hiring him. I know. Miracles happen. What time is it? Greet your buyer. Might have missed a previous comment. I feel like there's a long pause that I might have not seen. Mistress, please. Good faith and greeting to you, Micus. Let's make one thing clear. You're free. Yes, Micus. As you say, Micus. Good luck, Farwet. Your name's Yazi? Micus. What does Micus mean, Yazi? Better. I'm not your better, Yazi. I'm from Elbereth, too. You are from Iox, I think. Just as the other one was. You were hired by a man from Iox? Oh, his arm. Janiki Renba. To dig something up in the fields. You have it right. The Micus' name was Renba. But we were not digging in the fields. We were not digging on Elbereth. I do not think anyone will hire me as I am now. I'll take you to Iox. Lots of people sit around on Iox. I do not want to sit around. I want to work. So, where did Renba have you working? We sailed to a moon. Elbereth was visible in the skies. There was nothing there, but he made us dig. We found something. Can you find Renba's moon again? I think so. I think so, yes. But not on a map. I will need to fly with you. You want to go back there? No. Never. But I see you do, Micus, and I will help you. What did you dig up for Renba? I do not know. We had just uncovered a spar of wood when the winch fell on me. I was brought back here. Wood? Not metal? No. Not robots, then. What were you digging that needed a winch? A hole, mistress. A very deep hole indeed. What was Renbo looking for? What did he find? Do you know? I do not know. I was hurt before he found anything. Let's go back to the ship. We can talk there. Shall we leave now, mistress? Soon, not yet. I was torn there and got his arms backwards. It's rough. Okay, so that's interesting. People thought he hit something with a scythe and it exploded or something and sent him flying. Instead, a winch fell on him, which is a very different story, but it sounds like he is the person that was with Renbo, so that must be the right person, so the story was just wrong. Which is always interesting to just be wrong, just have the rumors be incorrect. Huh. As far as the options go, I was afraid to say you're free. Since he was offering to help us find the thing, I was afraid to hit the option, you're free to go, because I was worried that he would then actually leave the story permanently. But I also didn't, so I chose to go to the ship, but then I also chose not to go to the ship, because I don't want to go to the ship. I want to go talk to the other person that I'm actually here to see still. But I navigated that conversation somewhat awkwardly at the end, because I was like, well, I don't want to dismiss him, because I do want to do this side quest, because it might be interesting, and also I just want to do everything. But also I don't want to leave yet. I do still have my goal. I am not taking him back. So don't ask. How old are you, Yazi? 34, mistress. I began working at the market when I was 8. 34? You could have been at the orphanage with me. An orphanage would have been a luxury. My parents sold me to her. Are your parents still alive? No. That's all rough. Okay. Surprised he's not freaking out more about being freed. Oroi's yard's this way. I will follow, mistress. Surprised he's not more freaked out about being freed if he's been working there for...
Oroi was my oldest friend. We'd grown up in the orphanage together.
26 years.
But I had left Elbereth and she had stayed.
This whole area is Oroi's, I think. She's useful. And people like to give her space. I wonder how business is going. The alms tray looks pretty empty. Strike the gong. I have no idea what these things do. Oroi's always playing around with magnets and wires and things. What does the owner of this establishment do? Establishment? 6. No one says establishment. If you mean shop, say shop. It's a rude way of just not answering the question, though. There was an answering clatter from behind the door. What do we do now? Now, we wait for Oroi to finish whatever she's doing in there. And come and see who we are. Alright. What do you want? Oh. It's you. You seem well? I do alright. So? You're here to dump another broken robot on me? I hoped you could fix that robot. Sure. You made out like it was dented, not fried. What's wrong with this one? This one has memory problems. It can't remember being activated or anything before that. I understand that is quite normal. A core shouldn't forget anything unless instructed to, but it's certainly common. I guess people don't like recording machines following them around. Can you get its memories back? Probably not. Wait, Aliya. Did you hire a laborer? He's helping me find something. Find what? Your humanity? What? Is he your bodyguard or something? In case you annoy someone who pushes back? He was working on a dig site off Moon. I'm going to find it. And he couldn't just draw you a map? I couldn't. But I can take you there. I'll remember the rivers when they're in front of us.
We'd been friends. Once.
This is a good example of a reveal that just happens on the fly and you're like, oh! I'm gonna go visit my old friend Oroi. Oh, she's not happy to see me. And I'm discovering this in the moment. Oh. I found something incredible out there, Oroi. Oh, did you? A purpose for your life, maybe. Oroi, is something wrong? What could be wrong, Aliya? You rock up here after who knows how many months, raving about some great new find. What could be wrong with that picture? That's what I always do. Just tell me whatever it was you wanted to tell me. We sailed into the cyclones. A dusty, rocky place, totally deserted, and... Wait. You sailed into the cyclones? Aliya. Are you mad? It wasn't that dangerous. Of course it wasn't. Only an enormous space storm 10 times bigger than Albereth. Did you even know if there was a river out? That's not the point. Then it should be the point. I've lost you once to Iox. I don't want to lose you again. Mistress, you cannot be intending to give the Emperor's crown to this woman. I'm not going to give it to her. No, I expect you'll try to sell it, whatever it is. Look what I found, Oroi. Just look at it. Oroi held the crown gingerly, like it was some kind of injured animal. Bless the goddess. What are you? The right bulk for a basic power source. There are contacts under the rim. What is this? It's the crown of the Emperors of Iox. I think. Are you serious? You've got the crown of the Empire and you bring it to me? I was hoping you could tell me how it works. You want me to take it apart? Alright then. I'll take a look. What could go wrong? She just books it. I cannot believe you entrusted such a find to such a person. In such a place. Such an action is almost statistically impossible, but you did it anyway. Don't sulk, Six. I'm not sulking, mistress. I am rebalancing significant amounts of neural mesh. I really wish that they had stood in slightly different positions, blocking this cutscene. I'll let you know what I find. How's your family? My son is fine. My daughter... That's another story. What happened to your daughter? My daughter thinks she's in love. That does happen, Oroi. She's a child, Aliya. How old is she now? You know perfectly well how old she is. And she's not old enough. Did you ever fix that robot I sold you? No. Whatever it lost out there, it was really gone. I ended up borrowing a few internals from my collection. Disgusting. Look after the crown, Oroi. Don't let it out of your sight. Don't offer me advice on being cautious, Aliya. How many robots have you lost now? How are things here? Slow enough. But it's not getting any worse. Enjoy your robots, Aliya. I guess we're planting the seed for a future reveal. So we'll go deal with this other situation for now. Not much indication anything more is going to happen. Do you think Mistress Oroi can be trusted? We have learned enough to pinpoint one more new location of note, Renba's dig site. I suggest we return to Iox and inform Professor Miyari what you have done with the crown. Shall we leave now, mistress? Yes, but I'm not going to Miyari. So now you're just going to tell her all the bad news. You're just going to tell on me about all the misbehaving I'm doing. Be ready, mistress. And so we left the surface of Elbereth. With enough new evidence to find 2 new sites. That one's got a yellow mark. That could be that's probably a branching story beat. The choice of whether or not to do that. We won't know what the payoff is until it's too late. Aboard the Nightingale, Yazi claims he can find his way back to the moon where Renbo is working. We should sail to Iox to tell Miari what we've seen. We could, or... You sure you can find this moon, Yazi? Quite certain. I can find the place where the Eoxian had us working, Micus. Without me, I do not think you would ever find it. What makes it so hard to find? It is a rock. In a sea of rocks. But I know which rock. Then let's go. An eclectic series of ancient artifacts, most notably somewhere before we're gonna so. Alright. Velocity, perhaps? I'd have to explore this region for more evidence to narrow down the site's exact location. Or I could wait until I learn more. This guy says he knows where it is. Oh, that's this one. Yep. Eagles Pass, sailing to Renva's dig site. I don't like the sailing controls, but there's conversations that happen during it that'd be unfortunate to skip. The river ahead continues to our destination, mistress. How do you know? So do all Ioxians get given to robots, Micus? I went the wrong way? Are they attached to you as children, perhaps? I'm not from Iox. I'm from Elbereth. Where is the turn I'm missing? I can't fucking see. Yes, Micus, of course. My mistake. What? I feel like this is after the place where I supposedly missed. I don't know what happened. Our path turns right ahead, mistress. And so should we. It's really hard to tell where the turns are sometimes. I feel like I went the same way again. So I'm not really sure what's going on. We're going the right way? I do not know, Micus. When he took us there, he did not let us look out of the window. Well, then how are you gonna know? Our data suggests Renba's dig site should be nearby. There's something here. Settle the Nightingale 6. Let's take a look around. How are we gonna know we're there? I guess we're just there. The mood Yazi has led us to seems desolate enough.
We trudged across the surface of a tiny moon. Nothing but dust and towering stone.
This is the place? This is it, Micus. It is quite remarkable, mistress. This place is actually worse than Elbereth. Much worse, Miyameke. That's our home you're talking about, Six. His home, mistress. Merely your birthplace. You did well to leave. Wow, rude robot judging my home. I didn't leave Elbereth. Professor Miyari scooped me out of the orphanage and carried me away. But now you have done the same for me. What would Renba be looking for out here? There's nothing. Nothing we can see, certainly. Just mountains of sand. We won't find any buildings here. They'd be buried. There are none. So, can we leave too? Renba must have been here for a reason. We need to find out what it was. Alright, time to start poking. Nope, that's a building immediately. Or maybe it's the contraption they set up. Rails? Made for a cart, I suppose. Someone was building something? Not exactly, Micus. Not for robots. He wouldn't use robots. Why didn't Janiki use robots for the dig? It must have taken forever to excavate all this. I believe the answer is obvious, mistress. Well, Six, enlighten me. Why didn't Renba use robots? Robots cannot keep secrets, mistress. Every robot has a master. Renba didn't want Miyari to know? Perhaps Miyari. Or perhaps Miyari has a master of her own. We were hinted at the idea of not trusting Miyari, so that's why I keep not going home, is because he's going to report everything we know so far. And now I'm going to be in even more trouble. What's this thing, Yazi? We're lifting. This is how we ran the winch. Where did he get the equipment from? I don't know. Some of the others helped him unload them from the ship. There's something etched here. But this is not an ancient site, mistress. Alberethians carve ancient symbols for luck. I don't think they know what they mean. A primitive people. This robot's kind of insufferable. I don't think I like him anymore. He's so rude. I've not encountered any of these words anywhere else. But I can still make out some guesses. Bless blah blah. If that's me, what is me with a little thing in front of it? This would make sense. If it's like, this is me and we. Nothing else has a similar use and grammar. Bless this place. Me is specific. This is vaguer. It's the same thing with a little comma in front of it. This is the same thing as home, except we don't know if it actually is home, but more vague. So it could be house instead of home, or place. Stand? I think place. Bless this place. A blessing. For stability, I suppose. It's a powerful frame. Remember, must have been doing some heavy lifting. Which way, Yazi? Follow me. I'm impressed we managed to land right by the dig site. Although we're still not sure how big these planets are. It kind of feels like it's implied they're tiny, given that one crash apparently damaged the oxygen supply of that planet. Mistress, I must warn you, I do not trust him. I do not believe he is being honest with you. I suspect there is something here of value he wishes to retrieve. What's that? Oh, there's a site. By all the waken waters.
Carts, ropes, and platforms. Rember must have had an army working here. And yet he had left it all behind. Just like that.
Here is what we did for him, Micus. The pit we dug is within. And it is deep. What were you digging for, Yazi? He did not say. But he showed no mercy, Micus. None. So all this was built before Renba went to Maersi. Renba must have found something here. Something that led him into the cyclones. The Roban brooch, perhaps? But how did he find this place? He can't have just stumbled across it. And why was he looking for anything anyway? We might have hired the least useful person. They stand out because they were injured and returned, so that story stood out from elsewhere, but they probably had other people who were also here, that were still here when the mission completed, and may have spotted what they found, whereas he was removed early, so he's actually not the best person to do this with, although anyone getting freed is good. He has the least answers possible, probably. But yeah, I guess he must have found what he was looking for and then just left immediately, leaving the whole site. Once again, her credentials as being the one archaeologist of this setting are extremely in question, given that these people, like... Look how much archaeology was happening! And she didn't even know it was happening! Meanwhile, her dictionary of this language started at 0 at the beginning of this game, seemingly, so, like... Man, we could imply that it's starting at not 0 and that she has guesses whenever I gesture at something that might be informed by her past knowledge. I'm sure she's been up to something. I'm not thinking that she's like, oh, I'm such an archaeologist and then has done nothing. But I am increasingly amused by the entire plot of this game seemingly being me chasing somebody else's archaeological finds right after I'm introduced as being the only one that's into archaeology. It's a bit like in No Man's Sky, where the core appeal was supposed to be that you are somebody that is discovering stuff from scratch, and you're the first one out in this rugged place, but immediately you see tons of people and other stuff, and like clearly these places are not undiscovered, because you're basically never the first person anywhere. There's just ships flying constantly, and all of the universe is super populated, even at the beginning of when the game first launched, let alone when they added tons of questing and like more deliberate, structured gameplay. So like the idea that you were discovering these places and it's a rugged outback that no one's seen before was always just extremely dubious the moment the game started. How long did all this take? I don't know, Micus. He used workers in shifts, a few weeks, and then change. The work is hard. The air here is thin. Keep back from the edge, mistress. The sand may slide at any moment. I was gonna say, like, we put our ship right on the cliff, and I was like, hang on it. Like, I was distracted reading all the conversations at the time, so I couldn't comment on it for a bit, but we parked so close to the cliff. I'm like, I wouldn't trust that in a desert. Park in an open, you want a much more open place. That shit, we're gonna go back and the ship's gone. But what was Rembo looking for? Why go to all this effort? He did not say. And I was no longer here when he found it. Whatever it was. Another dig? Restoring equipment. What is all this? There must be a city under there. Little pieces. Pottery, metal, shards. Nothing significant. Though surprising to find out here, all the same. Rembo was not interested in these pieces. The others collected them and shared them out to sell. Rembo let you sell pieces he'd found? He insisted that we dig. But he did not care what we dug up. Huh. This one isn't sealed. The poker should do it. Well, that's a view. There. Let's see now. Artifacts. Yeah, I said that we never used an item in the environment like a quest interact, like a adventure game interaction, but we do have this one fire poker that we keep using, which is a bit funny in its own right. I don't know, maybe we can find like the other half of that key at some point. That'd be interesting. Artifacts. Just like on the other moon. Look at this. It's an ancient compass. Look at the craftsmanship. Such tiny details worked in. This is a part of that, but this is a bigger phrase, so this is probably the right one. We can put that there. Yeah, whenever phrases technically contain each other, it's harder to tell, for sure. Mistress, that translation is clearly incorrect. There must be another possibility. Oh, well, it must be this one then. Oh, they're saying that than is wrong. It's crossed out. Whoops. Done something wrong. Yeah, no, it's the big one. I was right the first time about this one. I forgot that they cross out ones when they were eliminating this. I'm not supposed to think that that comma was right. I believe I remembered the word light. Something praise, something light. Or? That is a very short thing, so it probably is R or for. It's probably a grammar word and not a noun or verb. Come pray for light. Sailor prays for light. Sky prays for light. Treasures, source. I don't really know the related words. Why does it say that holy is related? I don't see anything similar between holy and it. Maybe the dot, basically. It's on a compass, so I'm gonna say sailors prays for light. Pray is correct. Sailor prays for light. That'll do for now. I can see what Huang thinks when I get back to Iox. I don't think we've seen anything quite like this compass before. Okay, so that's her commenting on whether or not she can group items together, because whenever... Yeah, okay. So that's every time you find a relic that... We're always trying to find the source of the relic, and the source of the relic is tied to a specific location. And so whenever she says, I don't think I've seen something like this before, that means they're adding another location to the map. And whenever she says, this is like this other thing, then that means that one of the spots on the map shrank. And it's becoming triangulated somehow. I don't know how she's doing that. That's a bit of archaeology magic she's doing there, but... that suggests it must originate from something I didn't know about. But that's not all. Look at this. It's a scrap of an Ioxian Empire period book. And there's some writing. Yeah, I'd imagine that the book has some writing. This one's a blotted fragment from an even longer phrase. We have a lot of these. Another long one, but I'm confident it says bless. And you must be right too. Yay! My batting average is increasing. I almost want a stat for it. God's come bless you, will bless you, does not raise bless you. This is forever. Hold. If we look at this, I interpreted circles as being infinity, because that's what they often represent just in the world. We could think of the circle as infinity, the hash marks as saying a lot, and the two circles inside of each other meaning the future, like will. Because forever would incorporate elements of the future, potentially. Gods will bless you. If only we could read the whole volume. This comes from the same site as the blunted sword and the charred page we found earlier, I think. This should make the moon depicted in the Emperor's wall mural easier to find. But these are good finds. What are they doing here? Right, but these are good finds. What are they doing here? Like, it's strange that there's cool stuff here, because it's what they were leaving behind. It's what didn't interest him. Here's something. A boot knife. Dating from the earliest Empire period. It doesn't have an inscription on the hilt. I think this comes from the same place as the sculpture and the broken key that we were given on Elbereth. Presumably people commonly visited both of the two locations. This should make it easier to find. What was Hermit doing out here? Building his own little kingdom? Has he got a garrison under there? Gotta be thorough around here, there's a lot of stuff it seems. That could be easily missed. If you go inside, Micus, then you will understand. There's an opening somewhere? Around the back, Micus. We'll do a full loop first. But there are more tents back there. There's a lot to keep track of here. Gotta be careful or I'll lose track. At its busiest, there were 20 or 30 workers here. We dug from dawn to dusk. Sometimes Renba watched, sometimes he disappeared. But Renba never had a robot with him? Never. He must have been certain there was something to find. But what? This moon's as barren as they come. He did not say. And I was no longer here when he found it. Whatever it was. Is this rubble in the way? There's the cart. For transporting rubble? We dug deep into the rock below. Something's etched into the metal. I don't like how conversations simultaneously require the same inputs, both in the conversation and these, like... I'll get an environmental prompt and a conversation prompt at the same time that use the same button, and that's very strange. Survive. All will survive. A prayer? I'm convinced my translation for will is right now. So we're completely sure of all of this. Finished. All will survive. Neat. This is heavy equipment. Where did Rema get all this from? From Elbereth, I suppose. I would suggest it comes from a mine, or a quarry. I would believe it is, itself, old. It must have taken weeks to settle this up. Was it worth it, Renba? Did you find what you were looking for? If you left so abruptly, I would think so. I think that's the first time I've ever successfully translated something. Like, on the first, like, when I first found it. And then we know for sure that all the words are right. I've definitely been right by now about something, I'm sure. Maybe in a lot of things, but we don't have complete confirmation. That's absolutely what they definitely mean, and it's not going to be revisited and recontextualized. I am so distressed with this guy's arm. It's just a bummer. Alright, well then next time, we're going to be going inside. And I gotta remember those tents for later too.